All right, so we have our database connection set up already, so we can connect to the database. Now we need to make our files of our CMS or our template actually reusable. All right, so we're going to be using a function called includes to do that, and we could use it some other functions, but right now we're going to be using that. So if you go to our localhost, and we'll be in localhost CMS, right? This is our home page. We're going to be able to, what we want to do is put that table that we made called category up here, displaying some data, all right, some categories. Now, let me show you something. We have a lot of HTML in here, and we need to get rid of some. We need to make our code, our files, a little bit more reusable. Look at all the data here. That is a lot of HTML, and that's very confusing. Imagine having, let me just make this smaller so that way you can see. Imagine having PHP also embedded in here. That would make this unreadable. All right. So let's make this a little bit more reusable by taking it off and including it here in this include folder. Right. So let's go to the includes folder and let's create two new files. I'm going to call this header.php, and I'm going to right click again, and I'm going to create another one called footer.php. All right. They're up here so I can work with them. Let's go back to index, and let's just take this out from the body, take it out. And let's go back to header and paste it there. Let's go back and let's save it. I'm clicking every time I'm in one of these pages here. I'm actually command S-ing everything. And if you are in a Windows machine, you can control S so to save it, all right? Or you can come here and save it, but I think control S will do the trick for you. Fine. So we have that. Let's include it. Let's go to index and let's just include that. Let's use that command and let's include it. So let's open some PHP tags. I'm so used to typing using my other editor. Every time I type PHP in my other editor like this, and I, I press on the tab, it will make the PHP tags for me. So that's why every time you see me going like this and deleting it, that's what it is. I'm actually thinking that this is gonna do it for me. But we need to find probably a plugin for this editor to do that. So, but right now it doesn't really matter. Let's just get used to doing it like this. So let's also use a function called include this. All right, so what we want to include is a file called header.php, and remember that's actually in another folder called includes right here. All right, so that should do the trick. Let's go ahead and see that. Refresh. Let's see if we did it correctly. There we go. So it's working. Let's just make a mistake here and see what happens. All right. We make a mistake and everything fails. All right. So we are good. Let's just fix that up again. Perfect. All right. So let's do the same thing for the footer. Let's go ahead and let's take out a lot of things from the footer. Let's make sure this is for that and that's for that. So we need that. And this is for here. We need that row also there. And this is the footer right here. So let's just take out the footer right here. Everything on the footer. Let's take it out. And let's go to footer. Paste it in there. Save it. As you can see, it's just saving the footer there. And let's go back to index and include it. Now I'm gonna just copy and paste this. Actually, let me make this bigger for you. I totally forgot that I zoom. Oops. Command or Control S plus, and that will make it bigger, so that way you can see a little bit more clear what I'm doing. All right, I think that's clear enough. Let's also do some PHP tags down here. All right, we can make this a little neater by putting the PHP tags right there. Perfect. All right, I think we're good. Let's go back to it, and we can see that we are in fact good. Include, actually no, we're not. We don't see the footer in the left side. We'll just do it right here. There we go. Now we see the footer. Perfect. All right, that's looking nice. And let's also take out, we have a bunch of all the data here. Let me zoom out a little bit by pressing command minus. Let's take out the navigation. How about that? Let's take that out. Navigation, we have page content there also, but let's take out the navigation and let's just leave that comment there so that we know it's navigation. And let's go to includes, make a new file, call this navigation .php. There we go. Enter. Save it right here. It takes me right to that file when I save it. When I click on enter, and then I go back to the index, and I'm going to include it right here. So I'm going to use this also to include it. I'm going to make this a little neater. Again, oops. So that way you can see what I'm doing. All right. All right, so copy this, put it into navigation right here, into the navigation comment, navigation, oops. All right, go back to it, and we can see that our sidebar is there, is it? There we go, it's there. We make a mistake, and our sidebar still there, but, well, that was a navigation on top, I believe. Let's just go back to it, and we can see that something is going on there. It's actually telling me navigation. There we go. There we go. All right, now it's working. So what do we have here in this file is actually what we had in this file was not the sidebar. I'm sorry. It was I was confused this with the navigation. This is the navigation. I'm sorry. So that's what we had in the last file, and I was confusing with the sidebar. Sometimes I go ahead of myself when I'm in my head, so that's why. So if I go here and I save this, make a mistake, refresh this, you can see that we don't have a navigation there. So that's the problem. We fix it again, we refresh it, we got the navigation. Now let's get the sidebar out of here. All right, we want to make this as more reusable as possible. We want to clean this up a little bit. So where is our navigation? Let's zoom out a little bit so I can see it. So right here it says block sidebar. Yeah, we can see the navigation right here. So I'm going to click on this, and all this is navigation. I mean the sidebar, I'm sorry. The sidebar. All right. So I'm just going to take that out, and let's just make sure that that's the one. Yeah, it is. So take it out, and let's go create a new file, and let's call this sidebar.php. Enter. Let's save it in here. Let's paste it and save it. Come back to index. Let's do an include also in here, and we're gonna include this sidebar. All right, let me make this a little bigger for you so that way you can see what I'm doing. All right, perfect. That's looking great, isn't it? All right, so all we have left is content right here. We have a lot of content here that, you know, I think it's good to actually take this content also, add it here, and put it somewhere else. I think it's a lot of data here that we don't need, but for simplicity, I'm just gonna leave it for now. As a matter of fact, let's just take it out, and then if we need it later on, I will bring it back. Okay, right now we see here that that content is actually taking a lot of space there, and we could reuse it somewhere else. Let's just make sure that's the one. All right, so we got the pager right here, we got the third post, and all right, so what we need to do is we need to clean some of this out because we have a couple posts there that we're not going to be using. So we see the header of the post. This is the first post right here, It ends right here. So this is all we're gonna need actually: the title, the blog post, title, the page heading. All right. So we're just gonna need one of these because we're gonna make some dynamic stuff going on. So let's just take it out of here. Meanwhile, we're here. So let's just take this out, and we don't even need a pager. We can take the pager out too. All right. So let's save it. Let's come back to that file. It should be saved already for us. All right. Let's just refresh it actually. All right. We can see something happening right here. Our navigation is going to this side, and it's a good reason why it's doing that. We're taking out some important stuff that we should not taken out, and I'm gonna fix it up in a minute. So yep, that's the one that we took off that we should not have taken off, and let's do that right now. I just took out a div that makes this column 8 right here. I'm gonna put a comment right there on that page right now. Let's go back to it and refresh it, and you can see now everything is working fine now. All right, we're gonna need only one of these, and the reason is because later on we're gonna make this dynamic, and it's gonna have many of these automatically. All right, so anyway, I think we're done with this restructuring this here. All right, so we restructure the home page for right now. All right, so take care. I see you in the next lecture.